Hi, Jocelyn. Thanks for
Hello.
joining me today. If you could just kind of explain your relationship with the LindenTeach program and explain where you are teaching now to get us started, that would be great.
For sure. So my name is Jocelyn Treadwell. It will actually soon be Jocelyn Pewitt because I got engaged in November. But I believe I was in the second cohort of Linden Teach ever, which was kind of cool. I fell into it pretty close to the ground floor. I remember I was working two different jobs the semester before I took the dive into subbing and doing Linden Teach, and I was very hesitant, and I actually ended up missing the deadline. And it was my advisor at the time, Dr. Nunabel, who was like, "You've got to apply for this. I am giving Dr. Aldridge your phone number right now, and she's going to call you, or you're going to call her, and be a Linden Teach intern." And I was like, "Okay." And so, pretty much, I ended up talking with Dr. Aldridge and just kind of fell in love with the idea of the program and kind of took it as a sign that it was now or never, time to take a risk, time to really get in the classroom and see what this is all about. And so I did my Linden Teach internship in spring of 2019, and I was over at St. Charles High School and kind of bounced. I mean, they did a great job of keeping me at the high schools and the middle school, but St. Charles High was my primary placement. And then I was in a unique situation where in the fall of 2019, there was a maternity leave position that opened up at St. Charles West that was going to run pretty much my entire 16 weeks of student teaching. And so my cooperating teacher, Andy Russell, was the one who reached out and said, "Hey, you would be a great fit for this position. Are you comfortable running a classroom by yourself?" And because I had had so much experience working with Andy and working with the other science teachers over at St. Charles, I took another risk and was like, "All right, now or never. Let's try this." And loved every minute of it. Grew quite a bit from that experience. And now I am teaching high school chemistry at the Valley Park School District over at the high school.
Very good. And you did explain, congratulations, by the way, on all those wonderful accomplishments. You did kind of explain how you got into the program and taking that risk. What are some of kind of those foundational pieces of that program, of that entire process that you believe helped shape you into the educator that you are today?
Yeah, I think it was. It really what like it was. I would describe there were three main pieces for me. I think the first piece was that initial interview with the St. Charles School District. They you, I wasn't quite sure how it went on the back on their end of things, but I remember when I applied, I kind of gave a preference of which school district, Orchard Farms or St. Charles at the time, that I want to be placed at, and I mentioned that I was more familiar with St. Charles, so St. Charles ended up being the ones who contacted me. But I gotta say, Dr. Lewis, I believe, yeah, he really really spent the time just kind of coaching me through the interview, but like also still like interviewing me. And I just remember vividly going into that interview just scared out of my mind because this was my first big interview for any sort of teaching position. I didn't know what to expect. And there was one part of it where he was really just trying to get to know me as an aspiring educator. And then there was a piece where he really, really coached me through kind of the mechanics and what they're looking for, and here's how you can improve this. And it was just very beneficial and um, you know just very cool in how that went out, and that really just kind of helped me moving forward, beyond student teaching. And actually, when I was applying to my long-term sub position at St. Charles West, they interviewed me a second time, and that all really helped. And so that was the first piece. The second and third pieces kind of come together. It was very much that first day. There's a lot of first day jitters of like, oh, what to expect, what do I do? But I mean, the whole district, the sub coordinator, Debbie Wilcox, she really took me under her wing at all of us interns and just really like set the expectations, set the foundation for us at that first meeting. And it just aligned very well with what we were doing in class. And then that first day, I walk into St. Charles High. Andy comes out, he just kind of gives me a whole tour of the school and he just walks me through, introduces me to all the kids, and just really took the class time to make sure that I built those relationships with our students that semester. And that just really set the tone for the whole semester and really also taught me a lot in terms of just setting the tone as an educator on all ends of things. So I think those experiences really stick out a lot for me. And I know my placement was at St. Charles, but I know people at Orchard Farms who had very similar experiences too. So it was great all around.
When we talk about this experience and experiential learning, right? We often talk about failing forward or just learning from our experiences. How do you think that has impacted your role as an educator and your life in general?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, the biggest learning curve I have had as an educator and a student would is Lindenwood and the LindenTeach program especially really challenged me to go into a scenario knowing there is a chance I'm going to fail at first or that I'm going to make a mistake, but that the mistake, you know, within reason, of course, but like that mistake is a chance to learn. And I've gotten to a point where I've stopped seeing failures as failures. I've seen them as learning opportunities. So now, as an educator, it was funny. There was this project I tried out with my honors chemistry class. I wasn't sure how it was going to go because I've never done a project like this before. And I had to really just kind of set them loose. And basically, it amounted I presented them with this problem that they had to solve, but all they had to solve it were just certain numerical values that they could kind of put in their calculations, Google that they could look up things that they do, and at the end, here's how you're going to cite your sources. And so it was just really like, either going to be great or terrible. And when my principal asked me, what I thought about it, and I was like, I think either way, it's going to be a great learning opportunity. And he's like, "Well, that's a very optimistic outlook, Jocelyn." I'm like, "Well, the only way to know how it's going to go is to just try it, so I might as well just try it." And that kind of, I don't want to say confidence, but that comfort with, like you said, failing forward, or that comfort with learning opportunities, I think really was instilled in me during Linden Teach, because there were a lot of times where either Dr. Aldridge would challenge me to try something up differently in the classroom, like my first ever evaluation. I remember quaking in my boots, and that conversation we had and the questions that were asked like really challenged me to say, all right, what if I tried these things in my classroom? Never tried them before, but worth a shot. And then my cooperating teacher and then was always asking me good questions and like poking at my lesson plans as I was working on them for class. And, well, what about this? What if you tried this? I know we've never done this before, but want to give it a shot? And really just kind of set me loose. And then even too down to just getting the sub calls in the morning of, hey, I know you're secondary and I really want to try and keep you secondary, but like we are in a desperate need of a pre-K sub today. Like it is the only day I'm going to do this to you. And it's like, well, I've never done pre-K before, but let's try it. And so just all those moments like that, I don't think I would have gotten that level of comfort with just try and see and try and grow or fail forward. I would not have gotten comfortable with that had it not been for both that first semester of Linden Teach, but even that second semester when I was student teaching, because I was on my own. Well, not really, but
What about advantages that newly trained teachers have in the classroom? Do you feel there's any significance to that?
I think this was 2020 is a very interesting year to be a first year teacher. And I think one of the things that has really put me at an advantage is I went into this year already knowing that um, I didn't have all my materials pre-made. Like, it's not like I'm pulling things from reference last year. I'm still kind of in this phase of where most of my lesson plans and materials I'm doing from scratch. Um, and I've been a student up until this point, and I was taking my last few classes for my master's right as everything shut down. And so, I was a student while my research class was being affected. And so I kind of had that relationship, like I had that rapport with the kids where I kind of had a better idea of what they were dealing with on the student end of things. Um, but then I think too, being a first year teacher and being a young teacher, you know, I just kind of went into this like a sponge. And I went into this knowing that I was going to make mistakes, knowing that I was going to fail forward, knowing that I was not going to be an expert on everything. Like, I was not going to be the sage on the stage. We talk about that versus guide on the side. I was not going to be the sage on the stage. I knew that. Even for the position I was hired for, I was initially certified in biology, decided, ooh, I'll add on chemistry for some job security just in case. And lo and behold, they hired me for chemistry. So no, like, I am completely at like this new level of, all right, let's go for it. And I just kind of took this mentality of, we're all going to be in this boat. I don't know what to expect. The students don't know what to expect. So I'm just going to be transparent with them and tell them, look, I don't have the answer for everything. And the beauty of being a science teacher, at least, is half the battle is knowing how to ask a good question and knowing how to find the answers. And so I've just gotten very comfortable being that, yeah, I'm a first year teacher. I'm not the expert on this. So let's become experts together. And I think being in my boat, I'm just more comfortable with that. Um, Being a LindenTeach grad, being a first year teacher in a pandemic, I think all of those things just put me um, probably at more of an advantage than some of my tenured colleagues. Not that they aren't phenomenal teachers. I just think I've just been used to the unknown at this point.
Okay. Great. What about your why statement when you perhaps were interviewing, or what you would say now is what is your why statement, do you think?
I think my why statement and why I'm a teacher is, you know, I want to be the teacher that I didn't have growing up. I want to be the teacher that, you know, the thing I love is when I see a student thriving and finding their passion. Like, my why is whatever their why is. Like, why they're in my classroom, whether it's just to pass to graduate, but we're finding ways for them to be excited about a career in the future, or whether they're going to be a doctor. And they're just jazzed about chemistry. Like, whatever their why is has really become my why. I've just, it's hard to put into perspective how much I have just come to love my students and bond with my students. They're just this incredible group of just brilliant, wise, energetic teenagers who just have so much life ahead of them. And just seeing that spark um, when they get excited about something. Like, I had one student who just really, he's a junior, and he just really has spent middle through high school just kind of fumbling, not sure what to do. And so, really struggled to pass science classes. So he was put in my forensics class because it's an easy A for the most part. And he just, for whatever reason, he just kind of gravitated towards forensics, and all of a sudden just like got very into the hands-on stuff we were doing. And like, even when we were online first quarter, like, he just got into the riddles and the virtual puzzles we were doing. And he really discovered that he wants to go into forensic science, and he wants to help create like a forensics 2 course and help me write the course so he can get more experiential learning in this field. And he's just really found himself this year. And that I just I get goosebumps and just get teary-eyed just thinking about how far he's come just this year alone, and I have so many other students like that. So yeah, their why is my why is my new tagline.
Wow, that's awesome. And I mean, it sounds like you've influenced them in so many ways, in so many positive ways. So congratulations to you. That gives you fulfillment. And that's a wonderful thing to hear, that this is, sounds like to me, the profession that you were made for. So
And,
thank you.
I look forward to my job every day, even even if snow is coming down and I overslept. I'm still just like, you know what? I'm at least gonna see my first hour, and it's gonna be a good time.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jocelyn. Appreciate your time.